thought we were supposed to join in for the thing.
Oh, you can do one. At least it's see how.
Someone's wondering what
Yeah,
I'm going to give it a 5-star experience.
Okay. I think we're still waiting on a couple of people, but we may as well start. Hi, my name's Joe. I don't know what else. We've got a few crucial and a few really useful technologies that people have either discovered or used for a long period of time that we think would be really helpful for everyone to use, including admin staff and LSAs, because we're all going to be expected to change the way that we work over the next period, right? Some of these, the first few are going to be most likely a compulsory part of just how we have to run our day-to-day. And some of them are going to be really useful. We're going to run this as a Teach Meet, so there'll be 4 sections, each comprising a direct instruction where we just explain how to use something, and then people have a go at using it themselves. Then people talk about other things that they might have used that are similar or interesting ways that they think that these could be used, and share them back with the group. And then we go back to the cycle for direct instruction. I've put this all together, put the schedule together in a Google Doc that was emailed out as on Google Classroom, but there's also copies there if you haven't got one. And of course, as you saw, we're recording this and we'll share that widely. And we will also keep as many bits of materials as we can on this Google site that Gavin made, and we'll share as much as we can on the Google Classroom. I think some people had trouble accepting the invitation to it, so I've tried to invite everyone as a teacher and a student, just to see if that works. But if you haven't joined yet, I've got the class code up there in case it hasn't worked. While that's up there, does anyone have questions? Cassie?
Could be silly,
Go.
but are the Google slides that you're about to use on that Google Classroom at all?
Yes, they are. And also on the Google site.
Yes.
So do I go to share with me?
So if you go to Google Classroom,
So you go to Google Classroom? No, I'm not Google Classroom, I don't know at all.
so do a search for Classroom.
You should have
In the main bar. Okay. Troubleshooting.
Couldn't deny me.
Brilliant. Yeah.
If you need this is what they can through all of the documents and things will be out. That's just the code. So now they're shut it down. So if you know what I mean, themselves, you can also do that. So if you had a code, you wanted to yeah. Yes, we do it.
Is there anyone else I can help?
Yeah, so that's the code. But if you're going to do the it should, I don't know why, but when you do your payments, it should be details. I don't know actually. When you press the start,
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it would be ideal to get
so you can join your I just want to start class and have a shut down. There's something there.
I appreciate you so much. Oh, you're gonna. So,
I love that.
Joey, when does this start?
are we all ready to do our first bit of learning? I don't know. Our first bit of learning. Yeah. Anyone need more time? Yes. I introduce to the stage, Mr.
Okay, so the first one I did a PL the other day about Screencastify, which is like that really cool one where it records your screen and what you do on your screen. So when you're trying to do an activity, you want to show the kids in a more explicit way. This is really cool. I think for me, it's something I've always known about, but just never really had the need to do it, but I guess we really have the need to do it now. So I just made a quick PowerPoint of the instructions. So in your Google Classroom and Classwork, there's a section that's called Screencastify. If you click into that, I've uploaded this PowerPoint so if you want to follow along with the instructions on how to get it onto your computer as well. And I'm just going to be showing you just the basic instructions, but there's also a video that Tony made for me as well showing how to use it. Okay, so the first one looks like this. So the logo looks like this. So that's how you know you're on the right site. That Screencastify is an add-on tool for Chrome, so you can record what you do on your computer screen. It also lets you do webcam, so you could be recording and then your little faces in the corner narrating what you're doing to the kids as well. You can also use the microphone so the kids can hear you too as well as seeing you. Okay, so this is what it was good for. It's a different way to keep students engaged. It's another way to give explicit instructions. I know I'm finding, even though I think my instructions are really clear on the Google Classroom, the kids are interpreting them in so many different ways right now. So when you're speaking, the way you talk versus how you type is significantly different. So that's a really good way to get your instructions across more clearly. It's self-directed learning as well. So people love that buzzword, love a good self-directed learning moment as well. So the kids can watch the videos and pause it at their own pace. Teachers can use Screencastify on multiple platforms. So no matter what we're doing, we could even be narrating a YouTube video, a Google Doc, a Google Slides, even just our own screens. Teachers can provide modelling and thinking at different points. So you could do a Screencastify at the beginning of a lesson, during and after. So there's multiple access points for students as well. Okay, so it allows you to do basic video editing, nothing too fancy, but you can trim it to edit it, and then you can draw on it as well. So if you're saying it's right there, and the kid's like, where? And you can just draw a circle around where you want them to go. So it's really, really basic editing tools. There's nothing fancy about it just yet. Okay, so this is how to do it. So if you want to get it as... Okay, so if you want to get it on your computer, you need to go to this website here. So you can just follow the link if you've got the Google, so if you've got the slide open, you can just click that link. It's going to come up with a big blue button, which is the install button. Then you need to oh my gosh, you need to click add extension over here. So you click that button there. It flashes blue to white, so you click it and then add extension. Then you need to sign in with your school account, and then it's going to do this here as an extension to your Chrome account, and it's going to be another blue button. So it's really, really simple to use. I think it took Erin and I 2 seconds to download it the other day. So it's really, really fast as well. And then it's going to come up at the top here as a little extension tool. So that's how you know if that logo there is sitting in there, then you've successfully installed it onto your computer. The next step is if you click it, it's going to give you this screen here, and that's just how you use it. So it's super like user friendly. It's not overly complicated. So you get these 3 different options to record your browser tab, your webcam or your desktop, and your microphone. And when your microphone, see how it's got that little square thing? If it's flashing up and down, that means that your microphone is on and ready to go. Then you press record, and that's when you can do whatever you want on your screen. So if you click browser tabs, it's going to let you record on multiple browsers. If you click on desktop, it's going to let you record what's specifically on the desktop at the moment. And then webcam is going to be recording your face. So you get to choose, you can actually choose multiple as well. So if you want to do your desktop and your face at the same time, then you're welcome to do that. And that is how you get it on your computer. But I wanted to show you an example. Is it here, Joe? Oh, sorry, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Joe. This one here. Oh, yeah. So this is what Tony made for me yesterday.
I thought this was for the students.
Is the sound on, Joe?
Yeah, it should be.
Cool.
Hello everyone, this is Mr. Marziano. I'm just going to do a little bit of quick surfing here. Just going to show you what this all looks like. And I'm just going to go to there and do that. And hopefully this will bring it up straight away, which it does. So. Oh yeah. I have to do that before one. Ooh. Yeah. The idea. So this is a very quick screen capture thing. I've actually seen this one before, and the super quick is this one at the end. That's keep missing the sailor. Anyway, you get the idea. So hope you got something out of this. Bye.
Yeah, so Tony was able to go into like multiple browsers and just do whatever he wanted on the screen. So you could see it's like mouse moving, and then he could narrate what's happening. So what I'm finding, especially for the year 7s, maybe that sort of like explicit showing on your screen what you want them to do is going to be so helpful for us. Because sometimes what we're saying on Google Classroom isn't coming across because we don't get to speak it how we normally would in a classroom setting. So yeah, if you want to get that on your computers, the instructions are there for you. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Just for a sec. There is a free upgrade to Screencastify. So if we can go back to, which one's the slide? That one there.
Get to this one. No, next one. Sorry.
So just quickly, what the department has said, when you get to this screen, it says to get an upgrade so you can do clips more than 5 minutes. At the moment, you are capped at 5 minutes. So if you click the upgrade button and follow the prompts, there's a special coupon code that you put in. So it is CAST, as in CAST _ COVID, so COVID or uppercase, and that will let you have the unlimited subscription to it.
Can you say it again? So where do I go? So it's where you go. Which one?
So if you go, so when you get onto it, most of you will have a free and unlimited. So you click unlimited.
Let's just be on the screen. So get started.
Yep, so get started. There's like an orange and peach kind of colour. And then you'll get a screen that gives you the price. It says $49 US. And then there's redeem coupon. So it's all uppercase, so it's CAST, so CAST. And then underscore, and then it's COVID, so COVID. And if you're not sure, I can come and show people, but that will let you have it for a year free, which means you can maybe get clips more than this one's going to activate. Yeah, to activate it, you'll get an email saying that you've got a year to use it. So help each other out if you need help, but that's why just when I jump in. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll type it up on
Yeah, thank you.
Joe, the LSA stuff won't need to download this, will they?
Well, that's interesting because like if you're going to give feedback to the kids, sometimes the quickest, easiest way is to just record a video over there. So say, and I'll say supporting students who've got questions about one of the tasks. It might be easiest to record it, especially if it's like maths or art and you've got to actually show things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of impossible to do.
So, I'm not sure if the LSAs are feeling the same as me, but that just went straight over my head. Because my knowledge of Google Classroom is nothing. So, I get that they need to do this training to suit the kind of teachers, but there may have to be another bit of a PL next week for staff that don't have a queue because I just need to keep up.
So our next step will be to like try it out.
Yes.
Like ideally we do that after each. So we'll see how we go there. Should note too, if you never learn until you actually do something right. We're all constructivists of one sort. So we're going to have a session, like after I talk about Google Hangouts for 3 minutes, we're going to try to do this ourselves. And we'll be pairing up with people with a different level of experience. So if you're not sure, we've got time to learn a bit about this still. But if you're learning, it's going to do it. But any questions for the whole group at this stage? Okay, I'm going to talk really briefly about Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is another video thing. If you want to have a meeting online, or if you want to run a class with the students online where they can see your face and you can see theirs, this is the easiest way to do it. It's also the most reliable. It'd be great if we could follow along with me. There's slides on Google Classroom too, but have a go at going to the Hangouts website. If you type Hangouts into Google, or if you Google Hangouts, it'll come up there. It's also on the backpack. Yeah. Or if you have my slides open, you can just go to the link.
So Google Hangouts is different to Google Meet?
No, it's the same thing. So that's a really good question. So Google Hangouts is the same thing as Google Meet. They used to be different, but now they're the same.
Okay.
Google bought Meet from WebEx.
Is this the same as Duo?
No, it's different.
I'm about to say just using my camera.
I know some people are still looking for it.
Can you change the background from the sheet? Sorry. Can you change the background?
No, it just gives you a random background. Sorry, you gotta deal with the sheet. Okay. I'll say okay. Thanks.
You're on the wrong bit. See?
Okay. We're on Hangout. It's okay if you don't 100% get this. We're going to come back to this in a second. Now, I'm going to get you to call a friend. I know it's hard for some of us, but we're going to try it. I know I'm a maths major. I know friends are hard. Click on the video call. Yeah. Yeah, and then join or start the meeting. Okay. And now you can put in a new name for your meeting. If you want, you can just enter in the code that is on the calendar invite for this meeting. So that'll plug you in with the other people. That's like what John was doing before. You can say hi to Olivia and Taz if you like. Or you can make your own meeting that you're going to invite other people to.
So you can make your own meeting, which is where you just press into the, like
Yes.
someone already has a seat.
Oh, it's on the,
On your back, it's just.
so it's on the calendar.
Where's the code?
It's on Outlook.
Just so that I
So,
Click it, but I don't know where you should go, so I can invite
So guys, sorry, I wasn't explaining that very clearly. If you go to Outlook, I've got,
You sent an email that has the link.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll email this to everyone as well, sorry. Ooh, some people are on, I can hear.
Microphone. Everybody else mute their microphone.
Yeah, so it's good etiquette. So mute your microphone as you sign in.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to add contact lists.
That's not going to go smooth because it doesn't talk to your Outlook contacts or to the directory contacts very neatly.
Yeah, no, I know. And I've been trying to upload them into my Google contacts with like a list, but the CSV like read-in file has sucked for a while.
I don't know a solution to that. Maybe there is one, but I know it's buggy. So some people have joined meetings.
Can we turn on our mics?
Yeah, please turn up your mics. I'll show you how. The mic button on the left, down the bottom. There's three little buttons down the bottom. So you press the button on the left. That'll be it. Okay.
Go. Taz, how do I send Joe a message?
I think we're in 2 chats now. You can do it like in the chat window through the right-hand side menu on Hangouts or in Meet.
Yeah, it's on the back. I don't know if okay. I've got a couple of things to show people. So I'd like attention again just for a second. There are lots and lots of different. That's so eerie. At least I can tell people can hear me. I'm going to push through. Forgive me. There's lots of different tricks you can do in terms of sharing the screen or sharing part of your screen, inviting people, kicking people out, moving other people. They're all stuff you can play around with. I'm just going to go through the basics now. And probably the other basic skill is setting up a meeting in advance. This is going to be really important if you want to have a meeting with a bunch of co-workers, or if you want to have a regular phone-in session with your class. It's a bit counterintuitive. You've got to actually be on the call, like most of you are now. And if you, when it comes up automatic, like the first time it comes up, you're going to see this here. And it's going to give you the joining info. So people can either go to that URL or phone that number or use that pin to get into the meeting at any time, even if you're not logged in there. So, if you click, oh, sorry, it's over here. If you click here in the bottom left, that'll also give you the meeting information if you've lost it. So what I did was I put that meeting information on the calendar item in Outlook so that even before I came down here, Taz signed in like half an hour before I even started, for example, even though I wasn't signed in. And if you distribute that to your team, or if you give that URL to your students, they can just sign in whenever, and it'll start once you log in. Any questions at this point? Okay, I'm going to move on. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got into that. In terms of basic controls, as we've worked out pretty comprehensively, you can turn your microphone on and off using that button. The middle button leaves a meeting, and you can turn off the camera there. Present now is probably really, really useful. That shares your screen. So that's what I'm doing right now with my call. You can't really see it on the call. It won't, it'll show you this, but it won't really show you what everyone's seeing. Okay, any questions at this stage?
If you want to go back to the original screen, look at your screen, do we just press your name?
Yeah.
But when I press your name, it's not presenting what you're presenting, it's just showing me your phone, if that makes sense.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so I don't know how to get back to. Yeah.
Livia, can you see? Can you see this slideshow?
Yes, I can see it. Yep.
Maybe.
So I don't know how to get back to that. That's the only thing. Do you press that? No, because then that's saying that I want to present.
On the bottom right, there's a bunch of options to change the layout.
Oh, if you click the name, the arrow. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I use to change layout.
I'd say maybe the best thing is try this sign. Okay. Any other questions at this stage? Okay. One. We've got two things we want you to try to do now that you've learned about Screencastify and Google Hangouts. Everyone, I believe, has had a go at joining a chat, joining a meeting. I want you to try to set up a meeting if you haven't done so already on Google Meet. And I want you to try to use Screencastify to record a video of yourself and post it to the classroom. So I'm going to do that now. Wish me luck.
You got this.
Yeah. Thanks, Mika. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay. This is why Screencastify is good, because you can share it straight to the classroom. You don't need to mess around. You can if you want to, but you don't need to. Oh, God. And I'm gonna put it in SharePoint.
Yeah. I want to know. You know, have your camera has a picture. Switch the camera off.
Oh, nice one, Cassie.
Camera off. Yeah, but then if mine's up,
Sorry, that's the one I said earlier for my lens on.
That's cool.
Oh, that's because I have a picture associated with my Google account. Okay, some pictures that will appear on it.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, otherwise it's initials.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my students can see that. Yes. This is our best various hands. So that we can support each other. Can I see your hand if you feel like you could use a bit of help? Okay. And can I see you waving if you reckon you can help someone out? Wave with your left hand if you can help someone out. Sam, could you help Sonia? Taps can help. Sorry. Show me your finger if you need help. Oh, this is just
Send me an email.
yeah,
Stop sharing that.
So now. I love it. Let's go to Screencastify. So that's not in there. Yeah, we'll post it. Yeah, it'll come
we're just using
download Screencastify. Is there a link that just type it in? Okay. And then if you want to do oh, okay. Yeah. So I've got that up. Okay, so there's I think it had something to do with a particular group. Like it should work on
well, I'm just thinking that I
Hey, Joe.
I'm sorry,
I just asked Joe.
So when they come through.
Well, I think you can just do
That's enough. Yeah, I'm sure. Thanks so much. Thanks, Rob. See you soon. Bye. Thanks for the call. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Please press the sign, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry.
Thought I had.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, fine. So you just had to put up the sign.
Yeah.
You couldn't upload it to that class, you know, down the sign. Also, next
So as this now it's closed and really precise.
That's a lot of steps. And I have Okay. Hey folks, I'm gonna point out a couple of things now that don't work, so that people don't waste too much time. For example, if you try to add contacts, it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So I wouldn't bother with that. That's just kind of messy. Because I don't think Google really understands our Outlook contacts properly. So certainly I've never been able to actually upload contacts there. So it's going to be annoying, but...
Just quickly, dude. I managed to, you can't do it with a CSV file, but you can do it manually if you cut and paste their email addresses separated by a semicolon.
Oh, wow, that sounds painful.
It is, but it does mean that you can tag students individually rather than memorize their student number.
Yeah, I'll do a how-to about that, as well as like how-to about the Screencastify thing. But I'd recommend leaving off that for now. Also, if you try to start a conversation from here and like try to enter in addresses to make a video call, again, that doesn't work very well. People's contacts drop off. I wouldn't bother personally. Like sometimes it works, but I've not been able to get it to work reliably. So if you want to have a video call, your best bet is click on video call. If you want to send or if you want to talk to students, go to video call. I can show you one other thing that a couple of people pointed out. And this is also on the slideshow. So if you're not following along, that's okay. You can schedule a meeting on Google Calendar, and that's really useful because you can schedule a meeting for a classroom. So if I want to talk to my Year 7 class at 4:30 this afternoon, I can double click on the calendar, click on Add Conferencing. This is on the slide, so don't worry if this is too fast. Hangout Meets. And best thing is you can set that for your class. And then if you post that, they're all going to get a notification and an email on their Chromebooks when that time comes up, and they can just click on it and go on. So a bit tricky, but that's how some people like to set up their class.
So that would work also for meetings, like if I wanted to have a classroom meeting?
Yeah, that's the only thing is like there's not like a Google Classroom for the LSAs. There's not like a Google.
Can we
Classroom.
create one?
Yeah.
Could you show me?
Oh, sure. I
Not
will.
now.
Yeah.
Should you show me?
Yeah. Oh, well, after this, eh? Oh, after the 3 o'clock thing.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Does anyone have any thoughts to share or any questions?
Joe, I have one in relation to like protocol and rules around engaging in video conferencing with students.
Yes.
Is that their videos are always turned off?
Ooh, that's a really good point. Taz's advice around protocols for video calls with students, he'd recommend that every student turns off their video down here. That sounds pretty sensible. We don't need video footage of our students' bedrooms, do we? So yeah. Is that a question, Matt? Go on. Yeah.
If you're hosting, can you turn off their video? So can you turn someone's
I don't know.
their video without letting them know you turned off their video, so they just walk away?
I don't believe so. I can't turn off April's video. I can't turn off Olivia's. Nah, that's just
The other quick question, Joe.
Because you're hosting this, so if you go that one there.
Ooh.
Oh, actually, no, so it'll be people at the top there. And if you click on someone who's got a video open. Oh yeah, if you click on Taz. So can you actually?
I've only got my mic on. I can turn my video on if you like.
So could you?
Well, I'll grab Olivia.
Yeah, grab Olivia.
Nah, I can't. I can kick her out. I can mute her.
You can mute her?
You know.
Okay, but you can't turn the video off. Yeah, but you can still mute her, so that's something else.
I suppose the guidance too would be that we don't have one-on-one video chats with any student.
Yeah, real good point. Sorry, one more point is general advice, but also union advice, is that we don't ever have one-on-one videos with students for obvious reasons. I mean, methods for communicating home with families are being discussed with like consideration for what people's workloads are going to be, but certainly we shouldn't be having a video conference with a student one-on-one. It's only for classes of the teams, it appears. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts to share? Yes.
We've got some advice pending around.
We may as well say now. So, like, there's going to be a system for contacting home. It's probably going to be based on the SMS function on SAS, and it'll be centrally managed. We want to be considerate of the fact that workload's going to be really complex and challenging, and everyone's going to be stressed out. So at this stage, we're going to be asking that we don't have any phone calls home to families or students during a shutdown period. If we're doing distance learning, we're going to have communication via emails and messaging system on Google Classroom, but no phone calls to families. There's going to be a sacrifice for pedagogy there, but there's so many ways that could blow up horrendously if teachers are calling families from their own homes to their own homes. That could be really dangerous for everyone. So this will come out on email, but we're going to insist people don't make phone calls home. Be careful stuff. Okay, any questions?
Some families don't have email.
Yeah, we recognise this. We're going to use SMSs to communicate home, and that's not ideal. We might have reason to be hopeful of the Directorate's rollout of alternate internet access hardware. We'll see how that goes.
But we can't SMS from our private phone. So how would, if we didn't have a school phone, how would we SMS?
Using SAS.
You can do that, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. If there's going to be a need to call home, it will be an executive call home. So we need to understand the context of really what the practicalities are going to be. So you're going to be in your homes with your family, with your work-life balance, and your partner or other families' work-life balance. We're in a pandemic. Family that you're working with will have their exactly the same situation. You're going to be contacting them more than likely around perhaps lack of engagement and so on. If there are heightened reasons for that, the last thing that you want to be doing in your own home with your family is being in the space of potentially uncomfortable or sad or frustrating conversations. So we'll start with the Google Classrooms, the Hangouts, all of the online platform space, then to the SMS and then exec. So that's our thinking. It's a little bit different, I think, from some other schools. We've put a lot of thought and effort into the context of why we're in the situation we are. So if there's anyone, thinking through that, you've got any other thoughts or ideas, more than happy to chat about that.
Watch this space. Our next section was wrong way around. Susan was going to talk to us about resource libraries and interactive Google Docs. Hey.
Hey, am I able to chuck my computer in there or will that?
Yeah. Probably not.
Or maybe not? Okay, can I add you to a class?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, that's going to make this a bit harder. Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. We'll work it out. So I don't need it yet, but I'll if you put it on the other.
This guy.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I haven't put together really notes for this because it's stuff that you kind of will pick up really quickly. It's just a few features of Google Classroom that some of you are already aware of and some of you will be new. So in a situation that we're in at the moment, we might be sharing a lot of resources through Google Classroom and we can lose the integrity of those resources if we don't do a few things. So, for example, I don't know how I'm going. Sorry, I had it all playing on my computer. But if I was to post something from, like, say, our joint Google Drive, and I posted something on my class drawing from that place, and then Briggsy draws from that place and puts it on her classroom, and then Dan does it, and then Grace does it. But when Grace did it, when she was flicking through the students can edit, students can view, students get a copy each, she gets distracted and accidentally clicks that students can edit. Then if the kid edits that document, it actually changes it back in our PE folder and we've lost our original copy. So how do we get around that? What you can do, let me just figure out how this works. Okay, so on our Google Classroom, are we not open on Google Classroom?
First tab on the left.
Just this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you can do is you can create a resource library. So I'm going to open up, I've just added Joe to our resource library here for Year 8, which we've just started. That will be helpful. So rather than just me quickly putting stuff into my page, what I can do when I want to publish something to Google Classroom is put it in my lesson. We've called it our Year 8 lesson library. You might want to call something. You might have a Year 8 HAS resource place, whatever, and you post it to there. And that means every individual can repost from there. So if you go to your own individual classroom, where's that one?
Down the online library.
Yeah.
That's the third one.
There we go. So I'm going to add a post. Okay. So rather than creating something new, I go to reuse post. I then select what class I'm going to reuse it from. So I'm going to take it from my lesson library. But also you can use this feature for any of your classes if you put something on one. And I'm going to add my assessment piece. Hit reuse. Oops, see that little box there? Create new copies of all attachments. That must be ticked. And if you tick it, it should be ticked automatically. If you untick it, then you get problems. And then you get your normal screen. Okay, so you put your due date in or whatever it is that you're doing, instructions, you've got your attachments there, and you can assign it, or you can schedule it, or you can just save it. Okay, so if I assign that, then I've now created a new copy of everything in that post rather than drawing from the original source. Does that make sense? So no one will break your beautiful work by reposting it. Okay, so I really do highly recommend having resource libraries for faculties so that you can draw on the same resources without ruining any of that integrity. Any questions about that? Pretty straightforward, and it's just a classroom and you just invite the teachers that need to be in it. Okay, so now we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to talk about interactive Google Docs. Some of you, this will be super basic, but for some of you, it will be life-changing. So you know how like we used to worksheet for kids filling blanks or label diagrams, and Google Docs doesn't have a text box feature that you can easily use. So what you need to do, if you want to create something that's a bit more interactive, you want to insert a drawing. So let's go new drawing. I'm going to insert a picture. Let's go. Okay, so now I've got my picture. I'm going to add a little text box. I'm much better at this than I was. Okay, oops. Okay. Let's face it, it needs to be slightly pretty. Okay. Just created a bunch of text boxes. I should have put a border on it, but I didn't. Okay. My hands are too small to type in. But basically, you can create those text boxes then with all your little labels. Why is that sitting under the text box? I don't know.
You just pop that.
It's okay. Anyway, all right. So let's say we've done all of them. Spread them out nicely on our page and have a list of all the states. And then we can save and close. And okay, so yeah, I just drew that. So then on the kids' worksheet, if they're going through a booklet, you just tell them what they need to do to use it is a double click. It takes them to that, and then they can just drag and drop those text boxes wherever they want them to be.
Oh no.
Anyway, so you get the idea. So we use this in P with pictures of the reproductive systems. So you can, do it all kinds of different ways. You can draw little lines to point to where they're going and have the text boxes ready and they just type into the text boxes. You can have a word bank down the bottom where they're, putting in those words or they're dragging the words up, however you want it, but that's a really good way to make something like that used to be just right on it, something that you can do online. Questions about that?
How did you add the picture again?
Right at the start. So I just went to image, and that's the thing. It has unless you're an amazing drawer, and this program's really difficult to use, I think. So in the past, I've done tables where the kids have to drag and mix and match the meanings to the words and things like that. I had to create the table in Word and then do a screenshot and insert it as an image. So it's a bit clunky, but that's kind of how you've got to do it. But it does, there is a lot of flexibility with how you might use this feature. Yeah, I think that's it. Do people, we are kind of running tight on time.
Yeah.
Would people like a few minutes just to try that? Or should we? It's pretty basic. And if you have any trouble, just ask or whatever. Done.
Okay. Next up is taps.
Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple bits and pieces, mainly because a few people asked me in the last couple of days, so I figured I might as well show everyone else and maybe a couple of new things that you might not know. So first one, so going on with what Peachy was just saying about Google Classroom, just a couple of ways that you can organise it, and hopefully most of you know how to do this. So usually keep the stream as your little messages to kids, I've got this stuff for you. If you got work, I would recommend that you put into the classwork section, and then in your instructions you can tell the kids to go there. So if you have a look on the screen, this is my Year 8 Maths classroom. So I've done course outlines, I've got links to websites, so when you open it up it expands to screenshots and actual web addresses, that kind of thing. I've also, if you scroll down, got assessment in a section, so they know it's always in that top 3 sections, so they know it's always there if I give them an assignment or a test or whatever. And then I've actually kind of grouped the topics that we're doing. Okay, and you can always add as you go along, and these topics appear as a shortcut on the left-hand side, so then the kids can just go there. And what I've done is with the topics, I've just tried to keep them alphabetically, so then the kids can go, oh, it's Pythagoras' theorem, I know I need to search down where P is, that kind of thing. So it's pretty easy to do, all the stuff's up there, so create, and like I said, most of you probably already are doing this. So you go down to topic, you can go and put in all your topics that you're going to cover in term 2. The kids will only see that topic if there's actually a task associated with it, okay? Otherwise, you can only see it as a teacher for the time being. And then you can start adding some stuff in there. So you can add, like Peachy was showing you, with those interactive Google Docs. So just to quickly show you some of the things that I've added in that may or may not be useful with your class. So if you just give me a sec to go down. So easy Google Slides. There is a function in PowerPoint, but at the moment it's been disabled where you can publish it and give your links. We'll need to talk to Grant about that. So if you're unsure, maybe just jump into Google Slides there. So this will play exactly how it would on a smartboard in a classroom, so the kids can go through it and click all their bits and pieces and all the animations, and that will play. So a few people having issues the other day where it would just chuck it up like a PDF and all the stuff would be on there, and I guess overwhelm the kids because it's just too much information, so they can kind of go through, make the answers pop up, that kind of thing. So you can get that there. So it's pretty easy. So I'll show you in a sec how to go to the right spot to get that. You can make interactives. So if you give me a sec again to go down to some of those. So you can go into Google Docs and add those little features, that kind of thing. So here I've got some screenshots and I've put some little text boxes that the kids will type in the answer in, that kind of thing, and then they can submit it back to me. So finishes loading. So So you can do it that way. And a thing that I found, so I can't take credit for actually making this, but I can show you things that you can do. So again, just give me a sec to get there. So you can use, nope, not the right one. Oh, it's gone down there, that's why. So be very, very careful because you can easily click and drag things in the wrong spot, so you'll just have to reorder it. So here's another way you can use Google Slides as an interactive. So again, once it loads, kids have to organise all these numbers into the correct group. So that could be something similar to what Peachy was doing with the map. You could have a map there, have all the answers as little text boxes, that kind of stuff, because you can do text boxes in slides and then you can drag those there. So I can go and pick a number like 0 and drag it in the right spot.
So does every individual student have a copy of
Yes, I'll show you how to do that. So yeah, so what I did with my class was, and this was a few weeks ago while they were actually in the classroom, I set it up as an assignment. They all got a copy of it, and then they went and dragged it. When they were ready, they submitted it to me. I can open up each one there. So you can do that also in Google Docs and that, but like I said, this one's probably a bit easier with the text boxes as well. So then going back to the classroom, and I need to drag that one back up in the right spot. So click and drag and you'll see the grey box, and you can reorder it, move things around and stuff like that as well. So pretty much go back to the top, go to create assignment. Okay, give it a name, and that's when you go down to add. Okay, and then you would go and put in the link. If it's a website you're linking them to, if it's that slides, I go to Google Drive, I locate it in whichever folder I have, put it in there. So we won't do that because Joe doesn't have access to it. But then in that option, there'll be another option that appears, and this is again what Peachy was saying. It will say students can edit, students can view only, or students create a copy. That's the third option you want to do. Create a copy means when they open it, it will say Phil Perkins, real numbers task. And then it will say Frank Murphy, real numbers task. So it'll open up in each person's drive. They'll have a copy of it. They make all the changes they want. And then they'll have a little submit button on their screen. When they're done, they send it back to you and you can open it up and stuff like that. So if we go back again, and you got points, I put that at 0 because you're not going to assign them any like marks that way. There is a way where you can do rubrics that I'm pretty sure someone else is going to talk about to do the marking. But yeah, schedule a post so you can get this ready for next Friday. It appears and you don't have to worry about it, so you can get things done ahead of time. Link it all up and then just tell your classroom when to put it up, and it'll come up automatically, and you'll get an email saying that it's been like posted, that kind of thing. So just trying to find one that you can see the kids did. Might just get back to that real numbers one so you can actually see. So because I've made it as an assignment, so even if it's just a worksheet that you want to see that the kids actually completing stuff and are on the right track, I still tell them I'll post it under assignment because it's just much easier. You'll see how many have handed in, how many have been assigned when the due date was. So that's pretty much what they see, but with their name on it. And then you can click in here and it will give you a list of every kid that's handed something in and the ones that haven't. So you can open up each person's task and see what they've put in there. You can put separate comments to them. If you want to give them a grade, you can like allocate points or grades down the side or give them feedback. So you can double click and see things. So that would be a good way to do a couple of like worksheets and stuff. And you can give them due dates, like I want it at the end of week 9 or the end of week 1, and you'll see what they've done. So all of Aaliyah's stuff's been dragged, and then I can put in little comments to say everything's right in the green box, but the blue box is not correct, and all that kind of stuff, and she can communicate with me that way as well. So yeah, worksheets I've done that way as well, just to make it a bit easier, so it's not just, I guess, summative stuff. Like I've actually done informal stuff there as well, just so then kids can prove that they're doing it and they know what they're doing, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much that bit there. You can create quizzes, that kind of stuff as well. So there's other bits and pieces. You can do normal posts, material. So once you've done your topic, you just click material. You type in what it is. So it could be learning, an unknown side of a right angle triangle, pick the stuff that you want attached. So it could be multiple things. It could be a Word document. It could be a PDF. It could be a link to, you know, a YouTube clip, whatever. And then you can go and click your topic that you've either pre-created or you can create one on the spot and it will sort it for you. Only catch is that if you go into your heading, it always puts the last post first, so you have to kind of drag it back in the order that you want the kids to kind of view it. Otherwise, they'll end up doing it out of order, and sometimes like it'll kind of stuff up their learning if they have to learn certain things beforehand. So that's pretty much that bit. So just to show you how to get the slide up. So like I say, Google Docs are pretty easy. It's the slide bit you have to publish first before you can do anything else. So if I go back, I'll probably go to one of these. So you go to your nice presentation that you made. Obviously, when you're in the classroom, you just go straight to present and do it up on the smartboard. So here, if you go to File and then go down to where it says Publish to the Web, it's going to generate a link for you, and that link will let the kids view the presentation how it's supposed to be viewed. So if you go there, you get a little drop-down box. You can change any options there. You press Publish, press OK, and it's going to give you a link. So it's a straight copy and paste of that link. And you go back to your post. You go to your post. So whatever type of post you want to do, so I'll just say material. And if you go down to add and you go link, you copy and paste that link in and it'll actually generate, so when the kid clicks on it, the presentation will come up. They'll press either they'll click with their mouse or they'll press the buttons on the keyboard and it will go through all the animations and stuff, so then they can kind of teach themselves or read the information that way. So that's the important thing, because if you do it any other way, it's just going to look like either all information on it or you're giving them access to edit it, and then it's going to stuff up what you've created on there. So that's just the quick general, how to put up slides or any notes or any information, how to make things interactive on there. The other thing I was going to show you is, and that this is something that could be whether you use it with your classes or whether you use it within your teams. And Gavin's used this with his elective, I've used this with mine, where you can use some Google Sites. So it's pretty easy. You don't have to have any knowledge of any like coding or anything like that. It's pretty much drag on the screen when you're on the page to look like, upload stuff, make some links, and it's pretty straightforward. So I'll just show you one that I've actually made for my elective that I've used the last couple of years. And hopefully it's not going to stuff up because it's through Joe. Okay. Yep, okay, it's worked. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do it. So you might do it and all the teachers have access to it and you can put up topics. So I was saying to Phil the other day, we could have maths topics and then underneath it will say algebra, trigonometry, whatever, and we can have resources that teachers upload there, or we can make it available to kids so that the kids can find extra information. How I've used it in my elective, and Gav's done something similar in photography, is pretty much, and again, I've been using this all term before anything, where the kids can go in, they can see previous work. So this works for anything, whether it's photos, links to documents, videos. So then they can play the videos and see things that kids have made. So this is good for, like, I guess, your practical subjects as well. They can go into assignments, same thing. And you can put text in there as well, so you can give them instructions, and it's up to you how you want to design it. So it's pretty straightforward. So you can kind of see things that kids have made, and it's up to you what tabs you put up there. So I think Gavin's done it with information, but he's also got kids as part of their project to create their own portfolio. So I guess with some subjects, you could get kids to record themselves, dancing or something, and they can have a portfolio of all the different topics or dances that they've done that you can watch and assess that way as well. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. I guess it just depends on what you want there. So to do that, just a quick run through and then you can play around with it. So if you go back to, and Joe will need to tell me where is, do you have backpack open, are you?
No. Sorry.
So the easiest thing to do is go to backpack, and you'll see two Google Sites. You've got the classic, which is like the version from like a few years ago, or just do the normal one. Like I said, they're both pretty easy. I just use the newer version. And once that loads, you can see all the ones that have been created by people. So I guess it's just up to you whether you want to use it within your team, if you want to use it within your class or within your group or whatever, and how you set it up. But pretty easy, just follow the plus sign, that will get you to create one. And then just start filling in the bits. So like I said, it's pretty easy. You don't need to know anything about website design or web page design or anything like that. You've got text boxes, insert them where you want. You've got layouts you can apply to, fiddle around with it, link them up to various things. So pages, themes, you can change a bit of, you know, the colours, the pictures, that kind of stuff as well. But this is probably your main page where you actually click how you want it to look like. You drag pictures, so you can put instructions here, a text box, like I want you to do this, here's an example, whatever. Make sure everything's accessible in Google Drive, because you'll find issues with Microsoft Word and that sometimes things just don't upload properly. You can embed videos, so if you find a good YouTube video with that kind of stuff, like I said, videos, pictures. You can see what it looks like on, you know, a computer, on a mobile phone, that kind of stuff. You can share it with people, you can link it up, that kind of thing. When you're ready, you go again, publish, it'll give you a link. So that's what I did on that Google Classroom. I chucked it in, you just have to link on it, and it's been shared with them and they can see what you do. So pretty easy. It'll give you like a little link that you can copy and paste once you've got it. So that's pretty much it.
In terms of LSA support, how are we going to work with that? How are the LSAs going to know when they're required to jump in and help a student? Is there the ability for LSAs or staff to see that a student's actually currently working on a project and stuck and need help? What's the identifiers for LSA staff to?
So LSA is going to be invited as teachers, so you'll see the same as a teacher. You've got students who've been assigned to you in the classroom, so you'll know what students that you'll be expecting to see come up in terms of posts, what work they're doing and so on. You'll be able to, as the teacher, go in and have a look at their work, and if you think about the way in which you are interacting with that student in the classroom, start to think about looking at their work, what you could do in terms of providing comment on Google Documents and the stuff that they're posting, and making those suggestions to them around looking at their work, like improvement. You know, remember in class we were always focused on our spelling. Have you gone through and done a spelling check? So just those normal prompting things you would do in the classroom, you can do via the comments in some of the Google documentation.
Yeah. So is the expectation just for them to be proactively doing it?
Well,
or do you want them to be
space. So it'll be around encouraging them, thanking them for getting their stuff in on time, encouraging and asking them if there's any help they need to get their work completed. Is there anything that needs to be adjusted? And so you can pass that to the teacher. So you're like the online buddy for the student.
I suppose what I'm also wanting to know is, do you want them to be linking in with the teacher to ask questions, or just proactively be tapping in with those students?
Well, so you could also be the voice of looking over what the teacher's posted. So sometimes we'll send out information that can be ambiguous, or it can be unclear. And if you're sort of thinking, gosh, I'm not quite sure what the teacher means here, you can speak to the students that you normally work with and say, you know, what do you think you have to do in this space? And if it's not clear, you can let the teacher know. The teacher can clarify that. So you're just sort of providing that sort of gentle prod supporter within that environment. You know, that a lot of them could be overwhelmed in the amount of work that could be sitting there that they could be viewing. So just giving them those tips and strategies on, look, don't look at the whole elephant. We just take one, you know, how do we eat this elephant? We just take one bite at a time. Let's just take a little bite out of science and get this sheet done. It could be prompting them, you know, what do you want to do next? You know, what have you got on your plate? And that can just happen in the comments and things. It doesn't It doesn't have to be a specific spot for that. It'll be what is comfortable for you and the students that you're working with. Is there any questions around that? That's how I envisage it, but other people might have other ideas. Teachers might have other ideas in terms of how you work with them in the classroom and the students.
Is there going to be a time where they can come to us as per the timetable, and then we can add them to the classroom and talk about what we want them to do?
Well, I thought Sal was sending out a timetable, like a list of the students with the LSAs. So I'll ask Sally to put that up.
Yeah, and it's probably wise, like maybe to have them as part, if possible, have them as part of your Google Meet, which we're hoping to have once a week.
Yeah.
Probably be good to have that LSA in there with you, so that they can also hear all that knowledge as well that's coming across.
Yeah.
That'll probably be quite beneficial.
Interest of time, we might move on to our last session, which starts with another material, Classcraft, care of Matthew Ray.
Everyone stand up, take a quick stretch because my legs are killing me. Just jump around a bit. Yeah, feeling that. We're in the last hour. We'll get there.
Thank you, everyone.
I might add to, you might be my guinea pig for how this is putting you on the spot. So
Brilliant.
We'll see how this goes.
I'm very new.
Okay, this is cool.
This is my first time looking at it.
Should be everyone's first time. We're off to here.
Love your work, Matthew.
Thanks, good to hear it. All right. And which one of these tabs is it's one of these ones. Is it this one?
It's that one.
It's that one. Good drag it so I can find it.
Oh, that's smart.
Okay, so the next few that we'll be looking at are not part of our compulsory uses, so not part of the Google Suite, not part of like the Screencast or anything, but these are sort of optional extras that we have come up with that we think could be useful for some classes. Obviously, you'll know your classes pretty well, so you better think this will work, this won't work. But this is one I've used in the past pretty successfully with a couple of classes, and it's called Classcraft. So it's about gamifying, it's a weird word, our classrooms. So it adds sort of game framework to whatever we're doing, fully integrated with Google Classrooms, which is pretty cool. So I think you go present just to make it. There we go. So just while we do this, obviously at the moment we've got a big problem with engagement. I'm sure many of you guys are looking at your Google Classrooms and going, there's a lot of people not handing in work at the moment. So basically we have these two kinds of learners. Well, people motivated for two reasons. We've got intrinsic learners, let's go with that one. They're the ones who are motivated because they love to learn. They're not a problem. They'll be at home logging on, doing everything. We've got the extrinsic learners again. Those are the ones who currently we need to actually reach out and get. So they're normally motivated by rewards or by punishment. And for whatever reason at home, that isn't quite happening. So this idea of gamification is basically like it's saying, okay, well, what if we thought about schoolwork as a sort of game? Everything you do that you hand in, we can give you experience points for. So it's from like a role-playing game. And everything, if you fail to turn in work in time, if you aren't checking in regularly, then your character gets punished. And that kind of adds another layer of removal. So they think about their character, but actually helps them engage with it. But the reason it works weirdly is because we've got these weird monkey brains and they love going, oh, I got something on screen. It's a shiny new coin. That's really cool. And when you level up, you get a big ding. You're just like, yeah, that's really exciting. So this is a pretty engaging thing for certain types of students, especially those who love to play games in the middle of class. They actually really enjoy this sort of thing at home. So this is a screen grab of something that you would see as a teacher if you had this one set up. I'm going to go show you guys what I've got so far. But basically the way it works is students will log in, they'll have a character, an avatar if you like, and they will be able to go to what is called a quest. And in your quest, It's fully integrated with your Google Classrooms. And what happens is you'll be seeing them, your regular Google Classroom tasks. So, you know, we'll be saying, okay, we're going to look at a murder mystery. We're going to look at the motives of the characters. So you set them a quest and it goes, okay, your first quest is to list every character and their motives. And they go, okay, I'll go do this. That's cool. And then they turn it in on the classroom, and then on Classcraft, it will automatically credit them for experience and gold, which they can use to make their character look really pretty, which they will spend strange amounts of time on, I've found so far. The other thing I really like about this is they have these weird things called AP, which is action points. What those do is each character has like a class, and they get special powers, and we can tailor these to work both in class, if that happens again, when it happens again, and at home as well. So for example, we can offer some classes powers where you can get a hint from the teacher on a test. You could turn in your assignment one day later. You can turn in, you could phone a friend and ask them for help. All these sorts of things. Basically, it's up to you guys how in-depth you want to go for that. The other thing is you've got your thing health, HP, and with that one, you're rewarding or punishing kids for whatever they're doing for behaviors both in class and out. So I'm just going to set my one up online. So every time you check in daily, for example, you're getting rewarded. Every time you fail to check in over the course of a week, don't turn in homework, you get a little bit of a ping to your health. If you run out of health, you get to set all sorts of random punishments there. So which is pretty cool. It's like, there's a big wheel and you can roll the wheel to see what happens to them. It's very fun. So I'm going to try and set one up for you. I'm going to try and set one up for Joe. So classcraft.com. It's mainly based in America, so you'll have to suffer their spellings. So let me see what this is going to look like here. So go to log in. Google login. I would advise putting them on your spam list though, because they do spend a lot of emails. So you'll be able to see your Google classes already, and it will just set them up for that one. We're a teacher. Let's just say that one. But basically, it's a very customizable platform. We're going to skip the videos. These guys are pretty on the ball with their tech, so there's lots of free stuff going on because of COVID-19, and there's lots of extras that we can play around with as well. So if I was going to set up a class, for example, go new class here. Please click. Oh, I'm with you now. Nothing too creative. This one I found quite interesting in that we can, if we're doing this back in class, we could actually focus on PBIS, which would be pretty interesting. But at the moment, we'd probably just use something like the general and we'd customize it, because obviously lots of behaviors we're looking for are very hard to determine at home. Set that one up later. So when you set up a class, a couple of different things you can do. It's a lot of, I'll just click through again, I'm sorry. So the first one here is where we manage things that we want to see in the classroom. When we're managing things at home, it'll look more like actually turning up for class, being engaged, asking questions of other students, maybe being positive, responding positively to another student's work. In class, they've also got their own list of things, which is nice. And then we've also got some behaviors with discouraging. So again, if we're looking at just online, discouraging not being active on the classroom, discouraging not handling work, discouraging those kids who are leaving very unusual comments, whatever you like. So you can just customize whatever you think would be best for your class in terms of this one here. This one is new to me, so I'm just going to pretend I didn't say it. And then the next one you set up is your powers. So you've got 3 classes, kids will be all over this sort of stuff. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, I think my kid should be able to use a note sheet during the quiz. I think that they should be able to phone a friend and ask for a question. Maybe they can go back to one of their assignments and change one paragraph. Lots of things that you could potentially offer up to your class. You guys will know best what doesn't actually just straight up break the rules and what is like a fair addition that they could have. Got a bunch of classes here. Extra day on an assignment, miss out on one question. And then the last one, adding students, nice and easy for this one. So if you go create new accounts, this is the video.
You're ready to add students to your class.
Very American accents. So, sorry, I'll go back there. Yeah, so you go and create new accounts, and then if you go use Google Classrooms, it should automatically pick up all of your, I'm not actually going to add a class for you, but it should automatically pick up all of your classes there. And so once you set that up, it will basically create them accounts, send them an email saying, hey, please come set up the rest of your guy there. That would be really cool. And then you're ready to go from there. So the way it looks, it's very hard to use. So because this is so closely integrated with Google Classrooms, it's kind of just like goes on top of what you're already doing in Google Class. So kids will go, don't do that. So kids will turn up to this, there's a nice little background graphic here you can set up, and they'll go, okay, today I'm learning about characters in literature. And then they kind of have like this little map. And this map will be like, okay, this is the path I need to progress to in order to get to the very end, which is flavoured as a boss battle. So they go, okay, I'll go over here. What do I need to do just here? Okay, so in this case, you can add your own stories if you want, that's not mandatory. So in this case, we're reading chapter 710 of Percy Jackson, and then I'm answering some questions. And then once I've turned that in, it unlocks the next step for me. So kids have a very clear and very easy path to see what it is they need to be doing in order, and they're kind of getting this little reward each time that they can use to apply to their character, which is very cool. There's lots of extra stuff here as well. Most of it probably won't be useful for online, but being able to set people very clearly identified tasks and being able to reward them, I think is pretty cool. And again, they can go through all the way to the end. The other thing is it encourages lots of teamwork. So obviously, interact with our peers is very, students being able to interact with their peers in the next couple of months is going to be very limited. What this does is it puts everyone into small groups, and within your groups you get rewarded or you can get punished for collective things. So for example, if one student is repeatedly not handing work, the rest of his team can start losing health, and then hopefully they'll be like, oh, you've got to hand in your work, you're letting the team down. And they can also do some group work as well that they can submit collectively and get rewarded for. So kind of just went through all that one there. I'm not going to go through all these slides because this is kind of like how you set it up if you were interested in it yourself. Same with the quest there. And there is a lot to play around with, but basically I'm going to be using it for my year 7s and year 8s. I find the young years especially good for. And they've already sort of gone, this sounds really fun. I hope you upload extra work so I can, get some extra levels and things, which is a bit unusual. But hopefully this is just one method we can use to actually engage the students when we don't have face-to-face with them for such a long period of time.
So the work that you already put up on Google Classroom,
yep.
If you then create a class on Classcraft,
yep.
Does it combine and have it up on there already, or do you have to do it twice?
You have to post it. This could be a bit tricky.
So if I've already set up my Google Classroom, all good to go,
yep.
How do I then combine the two without having a double handle?
So you'll need to actually just put it as a quest on this one. So you press this one here. It's probably not going to let me do that. But basically, you set it up here, and then on the task button, it'll actually have a link through to your Google Classroom, and then they click on that and it takes them straight to the classroom, and then when they turn it back, it will jump them back into this. Yeah. So it will link straight into classroom and then link back out of classroom once they've turned it in. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Any other questions there? Yeah.
For further motivation, is there any way you can have them duel each other at the end of the term?
Not duel each other. Assignments they tend to phrase as boss battles. I wonder if I can show you one of those ones there. Oh, there we go. So rather than fighting each other, basically they all come together to. Let's see what we can get there.
I'm just having images of like Pokemon where you go around and create your own character and get stronger and stronger, and then by the end of the turn they could either physically or virtually attack each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure against each other is quite what we can do.
Frankie says it's the second one.
Frankie says the second one. Because I'm a teacher, I can't actually answer this. The exam was given by the teacher, so if I go correct answer. So basically the boss's health will go down as each member of each individual student does it. So the idea would be all together, you have to come together and get enough answers to beat the boss. So that's kind of cool.
Where do the questions come from? Are they just random ones?
No, you'd have to set them up yourselves. So you could set whatever you already has as an existing task and just put them in here.
Sweet.
Yeah. The last thing I can think of is there is some room for Classcraft integration, and there's also some room for assistance from home. So parents can potentially reward their child for like doing chores at home, doing, being positive, whatever they like. There's room for some level of interaction from home as well. I haven't played with that one yet because there's a free version going for COVID-19, so I'm going to play around with that, see what we can find. But this is just the free one here, just a pretty solid. Yeah. All good?
And last up, we have Susan Peachy again to talk about rubrics in Google Classroom. Thanks for all your attention, everyone. It's a lot of direct instruction for a Friday.
Just to let you know, Jen would like to see us all up in the gym at 3 o'clock. Just something.
Okay, so is there anyone here that's used Rubrics and Doctorfus before? Great, because you don't ever need to use that ever again, because Google has come up with its own way. Doctorfus. It's like a James Bond type, yeah. Google Classroom, there we go. Okay, so basically what we can now do on our Google Classroom platform is we can create rubrics that go with our assignments, so we can mark it all online and get some, firstly, great feedback for the kids, but also markbook data for us to use for assessment. So, sorry, scroll down here a bit. Okay, so this is the assignment I added on a minute ago. Can I just ask somebody who's a student to click into that and just submit it for me while I'm doing this?
What did you say?
Can someone, anyone or whatever, just click onto the assignment and just press submit for me? Okay, so I'm just going to edit this assignment. And there's now this fantastic new button here called rubric. Now, when you're creating your assignment, that will be grayed out until you've got a title and it's thought for a second, okay? You might have to add your whatever in first, and then you'll be able to press on this. So if we go plus rubric here, we can create one from scratch inside this program. We can reuse one that we've done in another class, or we can import it from Sheets. So they're all really good options. So I'll just show you how to create one from scratch. So for example, for that task, I've got scenario 1. Question 1. And So probably most likely you'll be using a 5-point scale for your A to E. I'm not going to do that now just to save time, but let's go to a 3-point scale. Whoops, I can count. And let's just say it was awesome. We add another one. It was all right. Spelled correctly. And a good teacher, in your rubric, this is where you'd put the description. So student identified correctly all the emotions that that character is feeling, whatever it is. One totally sucked. Okay. All right. So there's more than one question in my assignment. So I'm going to add another. I can either add another criterion, or at the top of this one, there are 3 dots. I can duplicate this one and just change what I need to change. Okay, and you can do that. There's up to 10 criterions that you can have in a rubric. You can also choose to use the scoring or not use scoring. So generally we don't score in our rubrics anymore because we don't score kids. We look at where they're achieving at. So we'd have our outstanding down to limited. Anyway, so let's just say that's done. I'm going to save that. And it's now attached here on my assignment. I didn't mean to press that, but that's okay. All right, so let's just save that. Okay, oh, someone's handed in their assignment. So Sam's handed it in, thanks Sam. Now I can mark it. All right, so this is Sam's assessment piece. And I believe it's this one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I press the grading and over here is my rubric. And I can click if it's awesome, all right, or it totally sucked. But it was Sam, so we know it was awesome. I don't even have to read it, right? So I just scroll down and I just complete my rubric. Lucky I did a small one, that's not going to take long. I can return that now to Sam.
Oh, sorry.
So she can now access her assignment. She'll get a notification that her work is marked. She can look through the rubric and she knows how well she's done. Okay. Also, how do I get that? No, okay. So if I go to my, why is it not there in my marked? I might just refresh. Okay, I'm a little bit confused by this view. That's okay. It's not coming up there as marked, so I don't know what's going on there. And now it's not there as hand in. I don't know what's going on there, but when I did this earlier, it worked perfectly. So I'll just show you another way. So it's really important. A lot of the time you'll probably create your rubric before you create your assignment piece and you'll be importing it. It's probably the most efficient way to do it. So I'll just show you how to do that. Now it's not letting me get rid of that. Well, anyway, we can export to Sheets our results, but So we can create it in there and then export, or we can import from Sheets. This is not being my friend right now. Has anyone else found that Google Classroom over the last few days has been a bit clunky? Yeah. I think there's a lot of traffic. Yeah.
Can you create a rubric without getting on an assignment? Or no, you've got to do it from an assignment?
Only if you're doing it in Sheets and then you import it. So what I might do, I'll just get out of that assignment. I don't know why that's being so. Okay, so the other way to do it is we can reuse. If you reuse your rubric, it will automatically pull up the rubrics you've already got in that unit. Or you can pick one from, say, my lesson library. And I've got my 8-point criteria one that I made earlier. And that will import that in for me. So in your classroom that we're all in now, there is a how-to. I just added a little video, YouTube video, which says everything that I just said. And also the Sheets template. It's not as not what's the word I'm looking for. So all the green bits are the bits that you need to fill in yourself. And everything else don't touch. Like it won't work if you delete these things. Google will need it there. So you can change everything that's in green and you just have what you need. So if you've only got 2 criteria, you'll delete the rest. I think there's only 4 there, so then you just add as many as you need, but it will only take 10. Does that make sense?
Susan, how do you add a comment?
How do I make a comment? Yep.
Yeah, a sentence.
Let me go back in. So when you're...
Something like, Joseph, you haven't thought of this and this, you know?
Yep, sure.
Because it gave me my rubric response, feedback. If that's what it looks like when you get feedback of your rubric. Yeah. But then it doesn't have I didn't make it. Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah. So if I put a description in there, yeah, it should come up.
Yeah, there was a comment field just like normal.
Yeah. So Liv, I don't know, it's not letting me go back into a...
Yeah, I'll hand it in again for you.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. There you go. Just refresh.
Because I would typically want to give feedback and say, well, you know, I like the good and the excellent and all of that, but I would want to put a sentence and say, don't forget to do this.
Yeah, totally. There is a way you can do that. Let me just go back in. Okay, now I've got one handed in. So there's this little marker here where you can add comments. No, sorry. So that's your comment bank, but you can edit. Or you can make suggested edits, which is what I would normally do, and like double click a bit and you add a comment.
Yeah, that's quite independent from the rubric. Yeah.
Yes, this is independent from the rubric. Yeah, but you do that
and
as
that's what I would have done all along.
Yeah. So you can do that. You can still do that while your rubric's open. So you can comment as you go. And then when you get to whatever section, you go, okay, that bit was really great or whatever, and choose where they are in the rubric. Does that make sense, Liv?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you put in a comment? Just scroll into the page. You know where it said the add comment bank?
Oh, the comment bank.
Where you're marking it. The bottom bit, sorry, the second. The one on the right where it said like add comment bank. You know where you just selected that other tab.
Yeah, but where did it? Oh, yeah.
Just that bit.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
And then add a. So you can't put in just a comment. You've got to have an actual comment bank. Oh no, you can't add a bank.
So you can create your own comment bank and then you can just kind of add the comment that's appropriate. Or you can just individualize each of your comments by using that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Would you suggest that we are all marking and grading this way?
Well, I mean, I like this way because if people are submitting things online for your assessment, I guess you can either print them all out and write on them, which is a lot of paper. And also, I don't have a printer at home. Yeah. I'm not doing that at home. And also, this will notify the kids when their work's been marked as well, and they get it back instantly.
It's probably easier to.
Or otherwise, you're marking it and then you print it out a rubric and you're doing a rubric for each kid.
Yeah, so this is kind of the only feasible option.
Yeah, we're not going to see them. Yeah, I'm not dropping off their thing to the house.
Yeah.
So this is a really good option to mark assessment.
I mean, I'm thinking at the end when you go to do your reports, everything's on the computer, so it'll be really easy to access instead of if you've given a paper copy to a kid, you've forgotten to take copies, you're like, oh, what grade did I give them again for that?
Exactly, and this is brand new, it came out this year, I'm not sure how long ago it came out. But I've only just discovered it, and I haven't had a chance to do it with the classroom, so I'm not sure what that data looks like that you export out of it yet. But I suppose when I'm marking it, I'll probably have on one of my other tabs, my assessment spreadsheet. And then once I've marked the kids thing, I'll just pop in those marks on my spreadsheet and then I'll go to the next.
Have you seen the marks tab on the classroom?
Yeah, so I wanted to.
I found that yesterday, it's great.
Yeah, so that is. Yeah, here we go. So we go to the marks tab. Oh, so everything that you've posted in your classwork will appear there. And obviously you don't assess everything that you post. So let's.
Pops up with a big red missing when someone hasn't handed stuff in.
Yeah, but you need to have a due date. If you don't do a due date, that won't happen. So if you have assessment, put a due date on it, and then it'll be really obvious to you who's missing. So. So I didn't re-hand back Ruthie's. Because she resubmitted, I haven't handed it back. It's not there, but it'll automatically populate that and you can export that. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet with an actual class.
And if you do out of 0, does it still give obviously they won't have a mark, they'll have
So I'm not sure yet. So if you don't do the scoring, I'm not actually sure what will come up.
We just score it out of 1, and 1 means they've done it, but then you don't have to worry about assessing it. It's just you just need to hand it in, right? Hand it in. So it's just like a tokenistic.
Just put it as unmarked as well, and it will just show with the tick.
Right. I think there's playing around until you're done.
Yeah, a little bit of playing around.
Brand new.
Anyway, so it's a cool feature, and I think it's going to be really important in the coming terms. So I have put that video as a resource as well. So it's all pretty self-explanatory, and the template there that you can just copy and change for your.
Hey, thank you everyone. I realise that's a lot of direct instruction and listening for a Friday afternoon. I'm going to send out a feedback Google form this Arvo. But in the meantime, I believe we're due up in the gym for a short address from Dan. Oh, question. Comment.
Just quietly, how good is Joe James doing?
Right, thanks everyone. I really appreciate working with you all. Especially Cassie.
Did you get all that ready for those staff that are not down in the facility?
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Olivia. Thanks for joining in. Thanks, Taz.
Can you let me know by email what the announcement is at 3?
I'll send out the video too.
Thank you.
Bye.